So from the fundamentals of the financials, from the fundamentals of the P&L as well, things are looking good for us, and we continue to look for better performance and more efficiencies. Uthman?
So strategically speaking, we are driven by our mission to be 100 billion company by 2029. The benchmarks that we set ourselves for this year, Alhamdulillah, for year 2023, we've achieved them. And you've seen in terms of our entry into new categories, we are moving in the right direction to achieve our goal of becoming 100 billion company in Pakistan. This is driven by a strategic framework where what we identified for ourselves was, A, we need to strengthen our core. And as you can see in the improvement in Noorpur brand as a volume and our value-added categories, we are successfully, in fact, we are the fastest growing milk brand in Pakistan for third year running. As per our strategy, we wanted to enter the margin accretive categories. We've done it through acquisition, by acquisition of Fauji Cereal on February 19th this year, and pasta as a business. So we are now practically, we've entered those two categories, and we continue to diversify our portfolio to make it more margin accretive. We also identified for ourselves a strategic pillar of creating alliances for growth. An excellent example of that is the recent agreement that we've gone into with the Royal Group of China for export of buffalo milk to China, for which they have now installed and commissioned their own packing machine at our plant. And we will be supplying, and our approvals for that are at the last stage of processing, and we are confident that before the close of this year, we will start exporting buffalo milk to China under this agreement. The next big part of it has been our growth in distribution by our route to market strategy, and we continue to grow year on year by reaching more stores across the country. Another very important development that has happened within the group is the creation of food vertical. There were 4 companies, different legal entities that were engaged in food business. There were two in consumer, which were Fauji Foods and Fresh and Freeze. And then there was this agri and farming, Fauji Meat and Fawn Grow. Now these 4 companies have come together to shape a food vertical. They continue to exist as separate legal entities, but the management has come together in order to drive synergies. I'll just give you a few examples. In Fauji Foods, we grow, we buy wheat and barley and corn. Now Fawn Grow, which is a group company, will be growing all of these crops for us going forward. Likewise, Fresh and Freeze, which is in frozen fruits and vegetable business, will source their potato, which will be grown by Fawn Grow, which is again a group company, a company within the food vertical. Some of the other examples of synergies or of synergies is that butter requires a frozen supply chain. Entire Fresh and Freeze portfolio of fruits and vegetables requires a -18-degree supply chain. And we've brought these two volumes together, successfully gone and negotiated our cold storage rents downwards significantly. And likewise, we've done the same for packaging, and we are targeting to land, inshallah, nearly $500 million in synergies through these initiatives over next 1 year.
And I think just to add to Usman, these $500 million will come across the vertical companies. So it may not be just in any one company, but it will be across the vertical, and obviously all companies will benefit from that. Thank you very much, Ji. This is a brief presentation from us, and I would like, if there are any questions, then we open the floor and take the questions.
Ji, sir. We have a few questions already in the chat box. We'll start with those. In the meantime, if anyone wants to ask their questions directly, you can raise your hand. The first question is from the line from Abdul Basit, and he is asking, is there any chance that FFL is acquiring 4G InfraWest as well?
4G InfraWest is already acquired by us on February 20th, 2024. This is the pasta business that Usman just showed in the initial slides that we have just launched in Lahore and Karachi. Usman is there today to sort of introduce it to our sales team and then obviously open the market for it. So FIFL is 4G InfraWest Foods Limited, which is the pasta business which we already acquired along with the 4G cereals business on February 19th and February 20th.
Okay. This is Mr. Hassan Yaqub has raised his hand. I'll just allow him to unmute himself.
Yeah, am I clear?
Yes,
Yeah.
you are.
Yeah, I have two questions. One is that are there any more partnerships in pipeline future? Because one of the partnership you just mentioned that will be like exporting buffalo milk in like next month or in closing in this year. And so, are there any other partnerships in pipeline? Can we expect some? And one more question that pasta business, when can we expect the revenue to consolidate in the books? Because the pasta business has just started. So when do you think? What's the timeline you have decided to expand in the market and consolidate the revenues in the books?
So I'll just answer the first question, and Wasim can answer the second part of your question. Uh, there are other conversations happening. We will just wait till a formal agreement is reached before we can bring it to you. Because the royal agreement is now in place, they have invested in a way and put up their machinery in our plant, so we could share that information. We'll bring more news to you, good news to you, as and when those alliances are formalized.
On your question regarding the revenue of pasta, as we were saying, we've already introduced it to our sales team in Lahore. Usman is in Karachi for a meetup with our Karachi team. So effectively, I think end of November, early December, the revenue of pasta business will start trickling into the company.
Okay, Mr. Sharoz Alvi is asking, 100 billion revenue target by 2029 is too optimistic. What is the roadmap to reach that goal? And I think a few people are asking on updates relating to buffalo milk export status and the
Yeah.
size of the order, if you guys would like to share.
Yeah. So I think what's important in order to understand how we're going to scale the 100 billion, we've as a team, when we put down the strategy, we identified 8 must-win battles. Those battles are around growing our current business, entering new categories. So what you've seen in last 1 year is an outcome of that 100 billion strategy and some of the first stepping stones. So for instance, the acquisition of cereal was part of the journey to that 100 billion. Entry into pasta is part of that journey to 100 billion. Growing and portfolio pivot is part of that journey to 100 billion. And you've got to also realize that we have doubled our revenue in last 2 years. So we, from a 12 billion company, we are looking to be in the range, the vicinity of 24 by the end of this year. So we've actually doubled the volume already, revenue already. So I think the stepping stones are in place. Some of them have materialized, and some of them you will see unfold over next 2 years.
Right. And the second question relating to the size of the buffalo milk export order.
Yeah, so it's a sizable opportunity, and as you can imagine, anything with China is really big. It took us almost 12 months to kind of achieve closure on this, because our partners wanted to make sure that we have the supply chain capability, and they were very happy with what we had. And then there's a very lengthy procedural thing that we are now on the last lap of completing with the Chinese authorities. I think we'll start by the end of this year, and it's quite sizable. We'll probably next quarter will come back to you with what we achieved by then, but it's quite sizable. It can be a significant contributor to our top and bottom line.
All right. Mr. Suleiman Mania has raised his hand. I'm just going to ask him to unmute himself.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thanks a lot for organizing this, and thanks a lot to the management of Forgy Foods. I would like to, just firstly congratulate the management. Why? Because in this quarter, I'm witnessing Nestle and some of the other dairy companies actually had a decline because of the sales tax issue, right? Whereas you have been able to, in these very difficult circumstances, you have been able to notch up pretty strong volumetric growth and pricing growth to a certain degree as well. So congratulations for that. Just to ask you, in one of your slides on page number 6, Wasim साहब, इसमें आपने एक number 426 का highlight किया है and 6009. So what is that? Because उसका legend में mention नहीं है. Can you explain that? And then I have like 1 or 2 follow-ups.
Sorry, let me go back.
इसकी सर ये revenue का Q1 Q है ना?
Yes.
If you could just come to that slide.
Yeah, agreed. So basically, the numbers in blue or the revenue in blue is the dairy side, while the revenue in orange is the revenue coming from our cereals business. So as you know, cereals is a part of Forgy Foods. So they get consolidated into us, and hence, for example, if you look at quarter 3, so the dairy business
mention नहीं था. Sure, got it. Now coming to sir, एक जगह पे आपने आपकी quarterly में last देख रहा था, उसमें investment at cost आ रही है 210 million की for Forgy Infra West. What is the maximum number for this? ये कितना बढ़ जाएगा या इतना ही रहेगा?
No, this is the acquisition cost of Forgy Infra West, and this is what it is. This is the price that we've acquired it on.
So you will not pay any additional amount?
No, and also that the payment is deferred. We got very good negotiation with the group, and therefore the payment terms have been deferred. These were brought to you guys, I think, some time back, about a year back when this transaction happened. But they are deferred for the first 2 years, and then the repayments will start.
Okay, sure. And sir, finally, I would like to ask one question to Usman Saab and Khurram Saab. So, sir, I mean, obviously, you have a very aggressive target. Historically, I have seen that what you have stated over the last 2 years, you have actually been able to deliver major amount on that. Even though the circumstances have been like quite competitive for you guys as well as challenging for the entire industry. So where do you see the major focus of the company going forward? And then which year would be like a year where you would, let's say, go for like can you expect 25, 30, 40% growth? And when do you think that year would hit? Thank you.
So, Suleiman, thank you for that. Look, if you look at our growth, we're talking about doubling the revenue in last 2 years. So we've grown by 100% in last 2 years. Now that was only dairy. We've added to our portfolio since. And if you know how the FMCG and food business works, is that the pasta that we are launching today, we expect it in 13 to 14 months to start contributing significantly to top line and bottom line. Likewise, there are launches planned by Q1 next year, which are part of our plan to in a very profitable segments in cereal, where there is literally one player with 100% share of the segment, and we are the largest share business in cereal. So we have now got the strength of brands to leverage across portfolio. As you can see in pasta, we haven't had to invest in a new brand. We've leveraged the integration from the vertical to use an existing OPA brand in another group company and extend it on pasta. Likewise, there are now great opportunities within our portfolio to extend across categories. So what I'm trying to say is we're going to put all these missiles in play over next quarter. And I expect in next 12 to 18 months for them to start contributing significantly to our top line and bottom line, in addition to a basic fundamental growth strategy that we have put in place, and it continues to deliver on our dairy portfolio. So we've got like three growth drivers. Dairy is on the growth path. We have grown our share by almost 6%. Uh, so that growth is going to come in. It's still a big segment. We've got a lot of headroom to grow. Then there are these new segments that we're entering. And on top of it, this, I think, China thing is very good, and why I see it working for us long term. So
Yeah.
I think these are the pillars which should take us to our dream of 100 billion, inshallah.
Yeah, I think just to add on to Usman, so I think very clear focus on dairy. We are still the fastest growing, but we are still about 14-15% market share now. Second is margin accretive focus, venturing into the categories which are very profitable. And the third is also very important in terms of leveraging the synergies that this food vertical and group integration is giving us in terms of the distribution, sales support, in terms of our contractual obligations, in terms of looking at our spend and getting the maximum value out of that across different businesses, which is pasta, fresh and freeze, cereals, and dairy.
And I think, KJ, we should also recognize our team as well. We've really revamped our team. Our team has really responded to all the challenges, and ultimately our investment in our people is also going a long way in terms of helping us take this forward.
Right. Khurram Saab, just to a follow-up question on what you just said relating to your market share, which is hovering around the 14-15% mark. Um, I think numbers for the milk market are rarely given. If you were to estimate right now, how in terms of liters or whatever matrix that you follow, what is the size of the total milk market, and how is it still growing given the regulatory headwinds that we've seen so far?
Yeah, I think like overall conversion from the loose milk to the packaged industry is definitely not very much increasing because of the price delta. As per the estimations, the total milk market, loose milk production in Pakistan is circa 62 billion liters per annum. Only 21% of that is tradable, and only 5 to 6% of that tradable milk is the UHT market. Overall, packaged market, as Wasim initially alluded, this year has contracted as per the market estimations because of the very high inflationary pressure on the consumers overall. In a market which is contracting, we are growing volumes 34%. We have shown it on the charts. Hence, we are growing our share. Honestly speaking, when we see the external factors, those seem to be very challenging, but we don't look at things like that. We still say that we are a fastest growing milk. There is a huge market, which is a packaged UHT market existing, and we want to explore our potential in that, and we really want to accentuate our market share in that. The other very important very important development is that while our consumer business is growing in milk, um, we are the exclusive partners along with Metro towards the Chief Minister Punjab milk program as well, whereby 400,000 students are given 180 ml milk pack every day. And Noorpur is very proudly exclusive manufacturer of that particular initiative as well. So we are growing in the consumer market, we are growing in the ingredient market, which is our food services business. We are growing in these kind of collaborations where the tender businesses gives us a good opportunity to grow as well.
Okay, we've seen in the past that the company had struggled with finance cost, and that seemed to be the biggest impact on the bottom line, even if the company was profitable at an operational level. Obviously, during this time, the margins have sort of improved as well compared to what we've seen in the past. And could you just shed some light on the operational efficiency sees that the current management has been able to bring into the processes?
I think a very interesting question. If you see, and I hope I'm right, around 2021, our GP was roughly 8.5%. Today, we are reporting a GP of about 18%. So yeah, we've significantly improved our efficiencies, and predominantly most of that has come from our supply chain side, where we have, and supply chain and manufacturing, obviously, because they are the two key things that impact our COGS. There have been a number of initiatives that we've taken to not only improve our costs, but also improve our efficiencies, which have resulted in this massive increase in our GP.
Right, sir. And okay, we had an earlier question from Sabah Irfan. What measures is Forgy Foods taking to manage financial risk, particularly relating to foreign exchange or interest rate fluctuations?
So from a foreign exchange point of view, predominantly, most of our raw materials, if you will, or packing material, they are all local. So we are not that massively hit by devaluations. Obviously, there are certain raw material items that we do import, but milk, for example, would roughly be about 70% of our total COGS, right? And packing material would be maybe another 10-15%. So effectively, because a lot of our COGS is localized, therefore the foreign currency risk is not that material for us in this instant. However, on the interest side, luckily, as the interest costs are going down, and we've been able to deleverage our financials completely. If you see, we do not carry any short-term or long-term loans. Rather, we've got some cash sitting with us. So I think from that perspective, Alhamdulillah, we are covered from these risks.
If
I
I
think
may
this,
just add to it,
yeah,
I think one major part of our strategy was portfolio pivot. And the intent behind portfolio pivot was to operate in categories where we can pass on the inflation. Because long term, Pakistan does tend to be an inflationary environment. And hence, about 2 years ago, we took the call to divest from the commoditized plays that we had in our portfolio and to move towards branded segments where our ability to pass on the inflation is higher. That means we have to take on the bigger competition, but we're happy doing it. And Alhamdulillah, it's worked for us over the last 2 years. And that continues to be the play going forward.
right. And just a common equity holders question. Now that the company is profitable, I believe the next question would be, when do we start seeing dividends start flowing through?
Yeah, I think we would also love to give out dividends. However, if you see that we turned around the company, or the company turned around, Allah ka shukar hai, last year. So from our point of view, this is a year of stability. And so I would like to see 2024 and 2025 where we stabilize and grow the business, where we are comfortable that yes, we are at a point where we can start giving dividends to meet our shareholder expectations. I hope that answers the question.
Right, right. At this point in time, we don't have any questions on the chat box, or no one has raised their hands as yet. Okay, Suleiman just raised his hand again. I have to allow this.
extremely sorry for that. Thank you, KSB. Sir, एक चीज मुझे पूछनी थी कि your tax rate, you have a lot of tax losses, right? So आपका जो tax rate है, why is it so elevated? Because अभी तो, I mean, shouldn't you get the benefit of the tax losses which you were incurring initially? Thank you.
देखिए, P&L के अंदर आप बिल्कुल सही कह रहे हैं. सो P&L में रिमेंबर देयर आर टू थिंग्स. वन इज द नॉर्मल टैक्स. राइट नाउ बिकॉज ऑफ द टैक्स लॉसेस we are paying taxes on our revenue of 1.25%. But what has added on and significantly increased our tax amount, if you will, is the super tax. As we are becoming profitable and as the profitability is increasing, obviously a significant part of that profitability then goes towards the super tax, which is not adjustable against the brought forward losses.
Thank you very much for everyone for joining. Would the management like to make any closing remarks?
Look, thank you very much. I think we've all discussed most of the things. What we'd like to, as a management, put in front of the market is that, Alhamdulillah, we've been very fortunate as an organization that over the last 2 years, our strategy has worked. It's continued to grow the business, the top line and the bottom line. We are very excited to have the portfolio that we have today. And I think that puts in place an extremely strong foundation for a top and bottom line growth in years to come.
Thank you so much for those positive remarks, Mr. Usman. We hope and wish you the best of luck for the upcoming quarters. Hopefully, we'll see you again next quarter. Thank you, everyone, for joining. If there are any follow-up questions, you can get in touch with us. We'll relay to the management and we'll get back to you. Thank you,
Thank
everyone,
you.
for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ji.
Thank you,
Allah
Ji.
Hafiz.
Thank you, everyone. Allah Hafiz, Ji. Thank you, KSB, for all your support.
Not at all.